The living room was full of chatter, clinking teacups, and the smell of fresh pakoras. Nothing grand, just both families catching up after a long time. I sat quietly, watching everything. Jenny Didi and Sia Didi were here too, but something felt off. Once upon a time, they would be the loudest in the room, making fun of our uncles, outdated jokes, dancing to old Bollywood songs, sneaking extra gulab jamuns from the kitchen. They used to be the soul of these gatherings. But today, Jenny sat on the sofa next to Ma, quietly scrolling through her phone. Sia stood near the window, talking to her dad in hushed tones. They hadn't even said hello to each other. No fight, no eye contact, just distance. Something had changed. The room buzzed with talk until Ma's voice rose a little above the rest.
Our Jenny is so responsible now,
She said with a proud smile.
she's settled. A government job, good salary, stability. What more can parents want?
Papa nodded. She's made life easier for all of us. There were a few polite smiles. Then Sia's mother spoke, just as calmly. Our Sia may not have a government job, but she's wise. So wise that she saved every month for 2 years straight and bought a piece of land with her own money. Her voice was soft, but there was a pride in it. We are very proud of her. For a brief second, I saw Ma's face change, a flicker of shock, then disappointment, then a forced smile. She nodded, said,
That's very good.
but her eyes didn't match her voice. They lingered too long on Jenny, then flicked back towards Sia. And just like that, the room went a little quieter. I looked at Jenny and Sia again, both sitting behind their parents, silent. Their eyes were blank, their bodies slightly turned away from each other. That's when it hit me. Maybe it wasn't them that changed. Maybe it was everything around them. The constant praise, the subtle competition, the need to be better daughter. And somewhere in the middle of all this, they just stopped being each other's person. The lights were off. A faint street lamp glow slipped through the curtain, casting soft shadows across the room. Jenny lay on her bed, facing the wall. I lay on mine, staring at the ceiling fan turning lazily above us. We hadn't spoken much since we got from the get together, but I couldn't sleep. Jenny Dee? I whispered. Hmm, she replied without turning. Did something happen between you and Sia Dee? There was a pause. Then softly, No, nothing. I don't know how we even drifted apart. She turned onto her back, trying to be the way we were. It feels fake now. Maybe she feels the same. I rolled onto my side, looking at her through the dim light. Don't you miss her? Jenny didn't answer immediately. Then came a quiet, I don't know. I hesitated, then said, She's doing great in life. She even bought a land. Jenny nodded slightly. Good for her. I sat up slowly, hugging my knees. Do you feel uncomfortable when elders compare you two? Like there's always this unspoken competition. Jenny let out a long sigh. I don't care what they think. Honestly, I have my own problems. She turned to face me, her eyes tired. I don't even understand why mom keeps posting about my job. I don't even like it. My eyes widened. Wait, what? She nodded. Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to do it much longer. The job profile? It feels dull, meaningless. I blinked. But it's a government job. Everyone says it's secure. I know, she said. But I feel stuck. I'd rather teach in a private school than to do something like this for the rest of my life. She paused, then added, In fact, I'm thinking of becoming an online teacher. That way, I can reach students who actually need help, even for free, if needed. At least, it would mean something. I stared at her, shocked, but also proud. So, you're really planning to leave? I asked. Yes, Jenny said, her voice steady. I'm just trying to figure out how. The rain had been falling softly all evening. It wasn't stormy, just steady, like background music to a quiet day. Jenny and I stood in the kitchen, frying samosas and boiling tea. We weren't expert cooks, but we were trying to create a mood, a moment to finally talk. Jenny glanced at me. Do you think she will listen? I shrugged. Well, we'll never know if we don't try. A few minutes later, the three of us sat in the veranda, wrapped in light shawls, watching the rain patter against the ground. The tea steamed gently in our cups. A plate of samosas sat between us, untouched. We waited for the right time. But before Jenny could speak, Ma let a deep sigh. She looked lost. What's wrong, Ma? I asked. There was a pause. Then Ma spoke, not loudly, not dramatically, just with quiet pain. I was humiliated last week at the get together. Jenny and I exchanged a look. Humiliated? Jenny asked. By who? Ma's jaw clenched. Sia's mother. She always tries to bring me down. This time too, she made sure everyone heard about how her daughter bought land, even though she works at some private company. She looked at Jenny, eyes glassy. But you have such a good job, and still nothing big, nothing to show. What will people say? My face twisted in disbelief. What? Ma didn't stop. You don't understand. All these years I've worked so hard to raise you both. All I wanted was to hold my head high. And now? You weren't humiliated, Ma, Jenny said sharply. You just hate not being on top. You saw someone else's daughter doing well and got jealous. Her words hit the air like a slap. Ma stared at her. Then her lips quivered and tears filled her eyes. So now this was left for me to hear from my own daughters, she cried. You girls don't care about this family, about what we've done for you. You talk like strangers. How can you say such mean things to your own mother? Jenny's grip tightened around her cup. Her jaw was clenched, her eyes blinking fast. And then she stood up. Forget it, she muttered, turning around and walking inside, her footsteps loud against the tiles. I looked down, my chest heavy, the rain still falling steadily, now sounding louder than before. The house had turned cold, not in temperature, but in silence. Jenny stopped sitting with us. She left early for work and came back late, going straight to her room. No more evening tea, no more casual chatter. Ma didn't speak either, not to her, not to me. Only Papa and I sat at the dining table now, quietly eating our meals, pretending everything was fine. Then, one morning, Ma didn't came out of her room. She skipped breakfast, then lunch, then dinner. By the second day, she hadn't touched food or water properly. Papa looked worried. I knocked gently on her door. Ma? She lay curled on the bed, her back to me. Jenny finally came in, standing quietly at the doorframe. After a long pause, she stepped forward. Ma? She said softly. Please eat something. Ma didn't respond. Jenny sat beside her. You'll fall sick. Please. Ma slowly turned, her eyes dull but heavy with something unspoken. I will eat, she said. And take care of myself. But only if you agree to what I say. Jenny blinked. What do you mean? You say yes. Promise me now. Jenny looked at her, then at me. I gave a small nod, not of agreement, but helplessness. She sighed. Fine. Whatever you say. That evening, for the first time in days, the whole family sat together for dinner. Ma looked better. She even smiled. And then she dropped it. I want you to buy an apartment, she said, looking directly at Jenny. Jenny nearly choked. What? A flat. A proper apartment in the city. We'll get a home loan. You'll pay the EMIs. Jenny stared at her, stunned. Why? We already have a house. This is a waste of money. An apartment without a rental plans is a liability. If you are really keen, buying land is far more sensible. No, Ma cut her off sharply. Sia already bought land. We can't do the same thing she did. We need to do better, bigger. Papa nodded. She's right. We'll live here in winter and live in the apartment during the summer. Jenny set her spoon down. You want me to take loan in lakhs just to one up a relative? Ma looked straight at her.
I want my daughter to have an apartment. That's all. If you want to see me healthy and happy again, I want this.
The table fell silent. I glanced at Jenny. Her face had gone pale, her eyes fixed on her plate. I could see it, the suffocation, the pressure building inside her like steam. She stood up quietly and left the room. I turned to our parents. Do you even see what you're doing to her? I asked. This will drain her for years. It's her life, her money.
She'll be fine.
Ma interrupted calmly. Once we have the apartment, everything will fall into place. I looked at her, speechless. I wasn't sure if she meant it, or if she had convinced herself it was true just to avoid feeling like she had lost. The living room was unusually quiet. Jenny had called everyone in for a discussion, her voice calm but firm. She stood near the dining table with a notepad and pen in her hand. I sat on the edge of the sofa. Papa was on the chair, and Ma folded her arms, standing near the window. I've done the math, Jenny began, flipping open the notepad. My current salary is 75,000 a month. The cheapest half-decent apartment I found is 40 lakhs. If I take a loan for it, I'll be paying around 35,000 every month for 20 years. She paused, letting the silence settle before continuing. That leaves me with 40,000. From that, I'll need to manage food, bills, transport, insurance, emergency savings, and Misty's college fees, not to mention any future responsibilities. She looked up. Is that really how you want us to live? Tight, stressed, constantly worrying about money, just to say we own an apartment? For a moment, no one said anything. Then Ma stepped forward, as if brushing all her daughter's words off the table like dust. You don't worry about that, she said. Your father has a pension too. We'll manage expenses together. Jenny stared at her. And why are you even stressing about the future? Ma continued, waving her hand. Your salary will increase every year. You're smart, you'll grow. So just relax and get the apartment. I turned to look at Ma, then Papa, then back at Jenny, completely dumbfounded. She had laid it all out in numbers, in logic, in real-life consequences, and it didn't matter. All they saw was the image, the prestige, the apartment. Jenny slowly closed her notepad and sat down without saying a word. Her shoulders looked heavier than ever. After a long pause, she let out a quiet sigh and said, Okay then. Not with excitement, not even with anger, just tired agreement. I looked at her, and in that moment, she didn't look like someone who made a decision. She looked like someone who had given up. Meanwhile, my parents were over the moon. Within days, they had called up every relative, announcing proudly that Jenny is buying an apartment. Their voices brimmed with pride. Finally, something bigger than what Sia's family did. Jenny, though, was quiet. She looked lost, tired. She hardly spoke during meals. Once, I even saw her watching a YouTube video on Can a Home Loan Ruin Your Life? Before she tossed her phone aside and stared blankly at the wall. Still, the process moved forward. Paperwork began. The loan was sanctioned. A man well-spoken, clean-shaven, confident, was there throughout the process, guiding Jenny and Mom through the steps. He even showed us the apartment, a 2 BHK in a nice gated society. Mom was absolutely glowing. Then came the payment day. To our surprise, the man insisted that payment of the amount had to be paid in cash. Something about ongoing tax disputes. An adjustment fees in the registration. Dad was hesitant, but the man was so convincing, so professional, and Mom didn't want to lose such a prime flat. So a suitcase of cash was handed over. The key was given. Smiles were exchanged. We believed it was ours. On Sunday, we all dressed up for the Griha Pravesh, the housewarming. The Pandit arrived. Mom carried the kalash. Even I, despite the pit in my stomach about Jenny, was excited to finally step into our new place. We reached the building, took the lift, walked up to our apartment, and the key didn't work. Mom twisted it harder. Dad tried to. It simply didn't budge. And then someone opened the door from inside. A middle aged man stood there, confused. Yes? We froze. Mom was the first to react. What are you doing in our apartment? The man looked genuinely shocked. Your apartment? What are you talking about? This is mine. What? Dad roared and lunged forward. This is ours. We bought it. The building security guard arrived, hearing the commotion. He looked at us, puzzled. What's happening? We bought this flat, Mom yelled. The guard frowned. No, ma'am, that flat belongs to him, he said, pointing to the man. He just moved in a few days ago. No, you don't understand, I said quickly. We paid for this. We were shown this place. This is our flat. Jenny pulled out the property deed and registration form in a hurry and showed it to the guard. The man calmly went inside and returned with his documents too. Real ones, stamped, verified, just like ours. The guard looked between the two, then said, Sir, his papers are official. These, he pointed to ours, look fake. My heart thudded in my chest. Dad dialed the man who had helped us. The one who had walked us through it all. Switched off. We ran to check the building's CCTV. The cameras weren't working, apparently under maintenance. And the day we had visited the flat, the regular guard was on leave. Someone else had been sitting in for him, and that person had now disappeared too. The police came but shrugged. It was a civil property fraud. We had to file a case and wait. So we went back home. Not as a family moving into a new life, but a family who had just been robbed. No one said anything. Dad sat with his head in his hands. How could we be so careless? Mom just stared ahead blankly, her hands trembling. Jenny slammed the door to her room. And for the first time, our home felt broken. Weeks had passed, the storm had settled, but the cracks remained. Everyone at home had slowly accepted the harsh truth. They had been scammed. The apartment dream was gone, and nothing could undo the damage. But more than the money or the humiliation, what hurt the most was the burden Jenny had to carry, a burden forced onto her. Mom, once loud and commanding, had fallen eerily silent. Though she never openly admitted her guilt, she had withdrawn from Jenny completely. They hadn't shared a word in days. The air at home was heavy and strange. Jenny hardly spoke. She had taken a few days off work and mostly stayed locked in her room, sleeping for hours on end. It was like she was trying to sleep away the weight of it all. One evening during dinner, she finally broke the silence. I'm thinking of moving out, just for a while, to breathe, to heal. If I stay here any longer, I might break. The spoon fell off from my hand. Dad looked stunned. Mom opened her mouth, ready to argue, but the words never came. Maybe the guilt was too heavy. Maybe she knew she had no right. She simply nodded, eyes lowered. And so Jenny packed her bags and left. It had been a few weeks since Jenny moved out. The house had adjusted to her absence, or at least pretended to. Mom didn't say much, but I knew the guilt hadn't left her. The silence still lingered, thick in the air, especially during meals. I missed Jenny terribly, but respected her need for space. One evening, I decided to drop by Jenny's place. I picked up my sister's favorite chocolate chip ice cream, hoping it would cheer her up. I was just about to enter her building when my heart skipped a beat. A man walked in right before me. Tall, familiar, calm, and the sight of him sent a cold wave through my body. That's him. The guy. The scammer. My breathing quickened. The man casually entered the building. The same building Jenny lived in. Panic rose in my throat. I fumbled for my phone and quickly called Jenny. Jenny, I just saw the guy. The one who scammed us. He's just going into your building. I swear it's him. Okay, don't panic. Don't confront him. Just come up, alright? We'll handle this together. Okay. I sprinted up the stairs, heart thudding. The tub of ice cream nearly fell off my back. I reached Jenny's door and knocked fast. Jenny opened it almost instantly and pulled me into a warm hug. "You're here." I stepped inside, expecting tension, worry, chaos, maybe even police on the phone. But none of that happened. Jenny looked cheerful, not at all shaken. In fact, she was glowing. There was music playing softly in the background, and something smelled like coffee. Why isn't she panicking? Why isn't she asking about the guy? I was still trying to catch her breath when my eyes drifted past Jenny and froze. The living room had been transformed into a mini studio. Lights, a tripod, a mic stand, ring light, whiteboard, props. The place looked like a content creator's corner, then a recovery zone. "Jenny, what is all this?" Before Jenny could answer, footsteps came from the kitchen. And there he was. The man, the, the same one I had seen receive us during the apartment scam. Walked in holding 2 cold drinks and a tray of snacks. I gasped. "He's here? Jenny, that's him!" But Jenny just giggled. "Yep, that's Sam, my friend, my marketing strategist." "What?" Jenny walked over, took one of the colas, and motioned me to sit. I never got scammed, Misty. There was no loan, no fraud, no lost money. "What are you saying?" Jenny sighed, then smiled. "I planned it all. The papers, the drama. Sam played the part perfectly. I needed a way out. Pleasing mom was turning into a full-time job. It was exhausting. Her expectations were never ending. I knew if I didn't shake things up, I would lose myself completely. So I staged it. Let everyone believe we were robbed. It gave me the exit I needed. And now I'm finally doing what I love, making videos, teaching online, building something that's mine. I'm building my YouTube channel, sharing stories, and once I grow enough, I'll quit my job. I'm happy." I felt a mix of shock, confusion, pride, but above all, relief. "I told you not to panic, remember?" Slowly, my shock melted into awe. My, my sister wasn't broken. She wasn't hiding. She was blooming. "You're crazy." "Maybe, but finally, I'm free." We clinked our colas together, the ice cream now forgotten on the tip.